Good morning, Judge Traber. This is Astrid Rodriguez. I'm going to be your interpreter today. I'm remoting in. I'm doing well. How about yourself? I do. Astrid Rodriguez, certified Spanish interpreter. You're welcome, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning in Osceola. We'll be on the record for initial appearances. My name is Judge Traver, and I'm a circuit judge. For initial appearances today, I want to advise everybody of their right to remain silent. Anything that they say in this proceeding can be used against them in this proceeding or any other proceeding. Could I have appearances from the state, please?
Justin Collins, on behalf of the state of Florida.
And on behalf of the defense?
Mona Abraham from the Office of the Public Defender.
Morning, Ms. Abraham. Morning, Mr. Collins. I am going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent everybody who's down in Osceola today for initial appearances. And if you have another lawyer already appointed, you can let Ms. Abraham know when you approach the podium. When you approach the podium, please tell me your full name and date of birth so I make sure that I have the right person. We're going to start with Ahumada, please.
Morning, Your Honor. My name is Julius Ahumada, 03/11/1995 is my birthday.
Thank you, Mr. Ahumada. You are charged with battery, domestic violence, and false imprisonment. I'll find that there's probable cause for each of those charges. Can somebody down there please tell me he doesn't have any prior DV charges? I'm just confirming.
Good morning, Your Honor. Pat Hill on behalf of PTR. He has no prior battery or any type of violent charges.
Okay. Bond on count 1 is going to be set at $5,000. Bond on count 2 is going to be set at $1,000. Sir, you'll have no contact directly or indirectly with the alleged victim in this case, and no contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face, over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way. And no indirect contact means that you can't send messages to her using anybody else. You'll possess no weapons and no firearms. And you'll not return to the scene of this offense, except you'll be able to go back one time only, accompanied by law enforcement to get closed items of health and toiletries. Thank you, sir. Batista.
Your Honor, do you want this supervised by PTR?
I would. Thank you.
These conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Can I ask you something?
Talk to your...
Batista, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Diego Batista.
Go ahead, sir.
Sorry, repeat that.
Diego Batista, 10/01/1978. Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Batista. You are charged with battery, domestic violence. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge. I'll set your bond at $1,500 plus PTR on count 1. No contact directly or indirectly with the alleged victim in this case. Did you understand what I meant by no contact when I explained it to that last gentleman?
Yes, sir.
No return, except one time only, accompanied by law enforcement for closed items of health and toiletries. No weapons and no firearms, and no consumption of alcohol, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Camacho?
They're still waiting for her. Should
Okay.
we move on to Matthew Clark?
Yes, ma'am. We'll pass Camacho and call Clark.
Matthew Clark, 9181.
Thank you, Mr. Clark. You are charged with violating your probation or your community control. Probable cause has already been found, and the judge has already set your bond at no bond. Thank you, sir. DeBerg Irving?
She already posted bond, Your Honor.
Thank you, ma'am. Fabris?
I believe she'll require the services of a Spanish interpreter.
Luckily enough, we've got one online. Thank you.
Diga su nombre y fecha de nacimiento, por favor.
Carmen Navarra Febre y en julio 1576.
Carmen Novaras Febres, July 15th, 1976.
Good morning, Ms. Fabris. You are charged with battery domestic violence. I find that there is probable cause for this charge. Do I understand correctly that she doesn't qualify for direct PTR?
That's correct, Your Honor, due to the nature of the charge and the new admin order, we are no longer able to do non-monetary releases on 907.041 charges.
All right, I've read the factual allegations. I'm sorry, go ahead, Ms. Rodriguez.
A usted se le acusa de agresión física, violación doméstica. El juez está preguntando si califica para la libertad previa juicio. Aparentemente no, debido al cargo y la orden de administración bajo el código 907.041.
I've read the factual allegations, and I'm going to place her on PTR with a $100 bond as to count one in order that she has no hostile contact with her son.
Le voy a poner bajo $100 de fianza y libertad previa juicio y le ordeno que no tenga contacto hostil con su hijo.
No hostile contact means no acts of violence or threats of violence, ma'am. What I'm going to strongly suggest to you is if you have any sort of interaction that becomes emotional, you leave that situation at once because you're the one who has something to lose.
Señora, el contacto no hostil significa que no puede tener contacto con ningún contacto que pueda convertirse en algún argumento, pelea, o si usted se vuelve emocional, es mejor que usted salga de esa situación porque usted es la que tiene algo que perder.
Meaning that your bond can be revoked and you can be held in jail, no bond. Do you understand?
O sea que su fianza podría ser revocada y usted podría ser detenida sin fianza, ¿entiende?
Sí.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. Gellis,
Gracias,
please.
señora.
Good morning, Your Honor. Matthew Gellis, 0214-2000.
Morning, sir. You're charged with driving while license suspended as a first offense. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge, and I'll place you on pretrial release. Your condition is going to be no driving without a valid license. Thank you, sir. Glover,
Thank you.
please.
Glover, 32883.
Thank you, Mr. Glover. You're charged with dealing in stolen property and providing false identification or false information to a pawnbroker. There's probable cause for each of those charges. Bond on count one set at $2,500. Bond on count two set at $1,000. Also looks like you have a hold on you, sir, for Polk County. Thank you. Kearney, please.
Good morning, Your Honor. I'm Jaylon Kearney. My birthday is June 6, 1997.
Morning, Mr. Kearney. You are charged with home invasion, robbery with a firearm, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and petty theft. Bond on count one is no bond. Bond on count two is $25,000, and bond on count three is $500. Thank you, sir. Martinez, please.
Travis Martinez, 3275.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. You are charged with driving while license suspended. I'll find probable cause for that charge and place you on pretrial release with the special condition of don't drive without a valid driver's license. Thank you, sir. Melendez, please.
Pick up a form from that gentleman. Down here.
Hi, my name is Ivan Melendez, December 1st, 1969.
Thank you, Mr. Melendez. Could somebody help me out a little bit with this particular packet? Does he just have, is the warrant arrest with the 2650 bond interchangeable with Judge Arendis's warrant for possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia, or is it a separate warrant?
It's a separate warrant, Your Honor.
So he has
Your Honor, I
two.
believe he requires the Spanish interpreter.
Okay. So my question was, and Ms. Rodriguez, if you would translate just so Mr. Melendez is in the loop, I'm wondering if he has two warrants for 2650 or one warrant for 2650.
Yo estoy preguntando si alguien me podría ayudar a asistir con la información que tengo acá. Quiero saber si tiene dos órdenes de arresto por 2.650 o si es una orden de arresto por 2.650.
So the
It's
answer.
just one warrant. One warrant.
Okay, so his, and then he is, it looks like he is out on bond in two separate cases?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, let's start with the new charge. Sir, you are charged, oh, I'm sorry, Astrid, go ahead.
It's fine, Your Honor. No son dos órdenes de arresto, es una orden de arresto, aunque se estaba libre bajo fianza en dos diferentes casos.
All right.
Vamos a comenzar con el caso de hoy.
Sir, in the new warrant, you're charged with possession of a controlled substance and possession of drug paraphernalia. Probable cause has already been found. Bond on count 1 set at $2,500. Bond on count 2 set at $150.
En la nueva acusación se le acusa de tenencia de sustancia controlada y armículos para las drogas. En el primer cargo la fianza es $2,500 y en el segundo es $150.
Can somebody give me an idea as to how long he's been out on bond on these other two drug cases?
Si alguien me podría decir
Yes, Your
cuánto
Honor.
tiempo
Bueno,
él lleva libre bajo fianza en estas otras acusaciones.
One moment, please.
Un momento, por favor.
In case number 19 CF 2272, he posted bond on June 27, 2019. And the same for the 2019 CF 2265.
All right, I'm going to take no action on those two cases.
En ambos casos, en el caso 19 CF2272 y en el caso 19 CF2265, salió bajo fianza el 27 de junio de 2019. El juez no va a tomar acción en estos cargos.
Nevado, please.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You can sit down.
Good morning, I'm Andre Nevado, 7/2/1987.
Morning, Mr. Nevado. You're charged with knowingly driving with a driver's license suspended. I'll find probable cause for that charge and place you on pretrial release with the special condition of not driving without a valid driver's license. Thank you, sir. Nieves.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Go get paperwork from him.
He bonded.
Rahali.
Najib Raheli, 16 September 83.
Thank you, Mr. Rahali. You are charged with failing to appear. Probable cause has already been found. Your bond's already been set at $2,000. Thank you, sir. Rodriguez.
Your Honor, if I may, Your Honor, returning to Raheli, the warrant says $2,000 plus PTR, but I was wondering if you would consider removing the PTR. Mr. Raheli has an immigration hold, which disqualifies him for PTR, and I believe his bond has been paid on this.
Okay. Sir, first off, I have to advise you that you have an immigration hold. Secondly, I'm going to remove the PTR on your bond. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Rodriguez Bulted, please.
He'll require the service of a Spanish interpreter.
Sir, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Caballero, por favor, diga su nombre y fecha de nacimiento.
Angel Rodríguez, 2 de septiembre de 89.
Angel Rodriguez, September 2nd, 1989.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. You are charged with battery domestic violence. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge.
Gracias, señor Rodríguez. Usted ha sido acusado de agresión física, violencia doméstica. ¿Encuentra un motivo fundado para esta acusación?
What is the previous domestic violence charge for, and how many are there?
There's one prior 2010 out of Puerto Rico. Being that it's out of Puerto Rico, I don't have information on the disposition or the victim.
Okay, bond on count one.
Tiene,
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
tiene un caso previo por agresión física en Puerto Rico en el 2010, pero no se ha conseguido la información ni se sabe quién fue la víctima en ese caso.
Bond on count one is set at $2,000 plus PTR, no contact directly or indirectly with the alleged victim in this case.
La fianza en este caso es $2,000 más libertad previa a juicio. Se le prohíbe tener contacto directo o indirecto con la supuesta víctima en este caso.
No contact means no direct or indirect contact, and no direct contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way, and no indirect contact means that you can't use other people to send her messages.
Se le prohíbe en absoluto tener contacto directo o indirecto con la víctima. Contacto directo se considera usted hablar con ella cara a cara, hablar por teléfono, a través de mensajes de texto, a través de las redes sociales. Contacto indirecto es que usted intente hablar con ella a través de terceras personas.
Do you understand no contact, sir?
Caballero, ¿usted entiende lo que significa no contacto?
¿Ah? ¿Sí?
Per- ¿Perdón?
Sí. Sí.
Yes.
You have to
Yes.
maintain, you have to maintain separate residences, and you can't possess any weapons or firearms. Thank you, sir.
Tiene que mantener una vivienda por separado de la víctima y se le prohíbe tener en su posesión armas de fuego o armas blancas. Gracias.
Ruby, please.
Your Honor, I spoke to Miss Ruby, Ruby. I spoke to Miss Ruby, and the guards are telling me now that she has refused. She does have, I believe she's here on a failure to appear to mental health court. Would we be able to waive her appearance?
No. Why don't we put her over until tomorrow? The other question that I had, I was provided a really big packet showing she's a violent felony offender of special concern. Is she out on probation for something?
Your Honor, I, of course, did not receive that packet over here. All I have is that it's an FTA for a mental health court.
I have the
Robbery,
FTA.
set, and snatching.
I have the FTA, Miss Abraham. I was just provided a really big packet by corrections that shows, that starts with an out on bond, violent felony offender of special concern, risk cover sheet. And it looks like behind it, it has her criminal history. And it just says that inmate meets criteria for violent felony offender of special concern. Is there any way to check whether she's on probation for something?
I don't believe she's on probation, Your Honor. I believe that is based on her criminal history.
Okay. So that was just provided more for an FYI?
Yes.
Okay, let's pass her over until tomorrow. Rudderbush, please.
Okay, Your Honor.
Destiny Rutherbush, December 9th, 2000.
Morning, ma'am. You have two cases. In both cases, you're charged with grand theft auto. There's probable cause for both of those charges. I'm going to place you on pretrial release on each of those cases with instructions not to return to the scene of either alleged offense. Thank you, ma'am.
If I may, Your Honor, I found 3.
I have 3 as well.
And I believe there's probable cause for a trespass. I don't know that there's probable cause for a grand theft.
Are you making that argument on all 3 affidavits?
Oh, I believe that there's probable cause for trespass on 1. On the other 2, I do not find probable cause as to either of those cases.
Okay, give me a
Not
second.
to trespass and not to grand theft.
All right, give me a second. State, I'm going to be asking for your response. Oh, yeah, I ate her brother this morning at juvenile. State response.
Your Honor, I believe also in the affidavits, there's a confession of one of the co-defendants in the case, basically alleging that they stole multiple golf carts. Golf cart is falling statute of motor vehicle and a Florida statute, therefore would be grand theft of a motor vehicle.
Yeah, but where's the PC as it relates to her in these?
They would argue as under the conspiracy of the co-defendants would basically would fall under that category, which would also then her as a co-defendant in the case. He confessed to, trying to find it where the defendant actually confessed to everything.
I think the challenge there, Ms. Abraham, is that first full paragraph on the second page of the PC in which it looks like she's implicated in it by her co-defendants. Any response?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, which paragraph was that?
It's an identical PC, so it's the first full paragraph on the second page. I'm sorry, it'd be the third full page of the affidavit, but it says page 2 of 3 at the bottom. It starts with her brother's name and date of birth. It's that paragraph.
Okay, I see here, Your Honor, that I see that the allegation that they decided to, they should get another golf cart. However, her involvement, it says that Destiny and Isaiah walked back for the agreed upon purpose of stealing another cart. Isaiah located another cart, stated he went up to the property and stole the cart as Destiny continued walking down the road. I don't know that that's enough to hold her for grand theft.
I think it is. I'll find that there's probable cause in each of the 3 cases, place her on pretrial release in each of the 3 cases, order that she has no contact with all of her co-defendants, with the exception of her brother. I spoke to her mother this morning, and she asked if her kids could have contact with one another, and I didn't see that being a problem. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
Sabayet Ruiz.
Jaime Savalet Ruiz, 110775.
Thank you, sir. You were charged with battery on a law enforcement officer / firefighter, medical staff security, really. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge. Place you on pretrial release plus a bond amount of $1,000. No contact with that alleged victim, no return to the scene of this offense, and you can't possess any weapons or firearms. Thank you, sir. Simmons, please.
Ryan Simmons, October 2nd, 1984.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. You're here on a failure to appear. Probable cause has already been found in the court has already set your bond at no bond. Thank you, sir. Torres Hernandez.
I don't know, Cordes.
My name is Javier D. Torres Hernandez, October 2nd, 1974.
All right, thank you, sir. If I understand this correctly, his new law is the DUI, and then he's out on bond for the violation of the PTR condition. Is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor. However, he does have 2 cases here. He has possession of cocaine and drug paraphernalia, and then it appears a second for the DUI.
Could I have the case number, please, for the possession?
It's a new arrest, so there's not a case number.
Oh, he's here on two.
New charges,
Gotcha.
2 new cases.
Okay. So you've got 2 new cases. In them, you're charged with possession of cocaine, possession or use of drug paraphernalia, and driving under the influence of alcohol. I'll find that there's probable cause for each of those charges. Bond on possession of cocaine set at $1,000. Bond on drug paraphernalia lowered to $100. Bond on the DUI at $500. You're out on bond in case number 2019 MM 3247, violation of PTR condition domestic violence, and I will revoke your bond in that case, and your bond will be no bond. Thank you, sir. Cruz, please. Troy's Cruz.
Riza Troy Cruz.
Your Honor, can we roll that to the end?
Yes,
We're not sure where he is.
it's a she.
Oh, she, sorry.
Velasquez.
Mi nombre es José Velázquez, nací en 1969, marzo 15 de 1969.
Perdón, repita su nombre y fecha de nacimiento.
José Ángel Velázquez, marzo 15 de 1969.
Jose Angel Velasquez, March 15th, 1969.
All right, good morning, Mr. Velasquez. You are charged with retail theft. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge, and I will place you on pretrial release, ordering you not to return to the scene of this alleged offense.
Señor, usted se le acusa de hurto menor, le encuentra un motivo fundado, lo voy a poner en libertad previa a juicio y le ordeno que no regrese al lugar donde ocurrieron estos hechos.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Gracias.
Gracias, señor. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Sola Torres, please.
As for Mrs. Cruz, that she bonded out.
Okay, thank you. Sola Torres, please. Thank you.
My name is Alvisola Torres. My date of birth is September 489.
Mr. Sola Torres, do you want to use the interpreter, or are you comfortable in English?
In English, okay.
Okay. You were charged in this case with grand theft, dealing in stolen property, and providing false verification of ownership to a pawn dealer. I'll find probable cause for each of those charges. Actually, I already have, because you're here on a warrant. Bonds on count 1 and 3 are set at $150. Bond on count 2 is set at $5,000. Thank you, sir. Recalling Camacho Corachea.
Stephanie Camacho, May 89.
All right,
Good morning, Your Honor. Francisco Cruz on behalf of the defense.
Morning, Mr. Cruz. Ms. Camacho, you are here on 4 counts, resisting with violence, battery on a law enforcement officer, simple assault, and simple assault on a law enforcement officer. I'll find probable cause for each of those charges. Bond on count 1 is lowered to $100. Bond on count 2, $2,500. Bond on count 3, ROR. Bond on count 4, lowered to $100. Ma'am, you are out on bond in case number 2019 MM 3592, in which you're charged with resisting an officer without violence, driving while license revoked as a habitual offender. Mr. Cruz, do you have any argument on that case as to why I shouldn't revoke her bond for picking up a similar charge?
Your Honor, this was a situation, and we actually were trying to bring in witnesses to present testimony this morning. Unfortunately, due to the fact that it's a holiday and, you know, we're not having initial appearance in Osceola per the usual method, we weren't able to get them here in time or get them over there in time to testify. However, this was a situation where our client was having mental health crisis. They reached out to law enforcement to try and complete a Baker Act, but unfortunately that didn't go the way that the family was hoping. The contact with law enforcement didn't go the way the family was hoping. The family was going to come in, the grandmother and her brother were going to come in and testify as to what happened and their attempts to try to get her Baker Acted for some assistance and services. But however, we ended up in this situation. I'm asking that she be evaluated at least, and then, you know, that she be released so that we can try to get her the services that we were initially trying to get for her.
Have you filed a written suggestion in the court file yet, or notice?
I just got retained on this case maybe 30 minutes ago, Your Honor.
Fair enough.
So I haven't been able to do that.
So in the absence of a written notice in the file, I'm unable to take that particular step. You have, and certainly the family has, the ability to request an involuntary examination under the Baker Act no matter where she is, and it sounds like that might be what's best. As it relates to
Yes,
her,
Your Honor.
as it relates to her bond on the misdemeanor case, I'm going to revoke it, and her bond will be no bond. And Mr. Cruz, you're just welcome.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome to address all of those particular issues with one of my colleagues as soon as you can. Thank you very much for coming in.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, and we'll be, is there anything else that I can do for anybody in Osceola? Anybody that I haven't called?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you guys very much
No,
for your
Your
time.
Honor.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
You as well.
All right, we'll be on the record for initial appearances in Orange County, appearance for the state,
Jessica Collins, the state.
appearance for the defense.
Courtney Daly, Public Defender's Office.
All right, and your first client requires the services of an interpreter, Ms. Daly?
Yes.
Okay. Ma'am, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
I know.
Cecilia del Carmen Jaramillo Martínez, el 6 del 6 del 1972.
All right, ma'am, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with attempted burglary of a conveyance and criminal mischief. There's probable cause for each of those charges. Bond on count 1 set at $1,000. Bond on count 2 lowered to $100. Thank you, ma'am.
It's $100 for the bonds.
Okay, Pacheco, please. Morning, sir. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
The
Morning,
interpreter hasn't translated it yet.
Morning, sir. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Sorry, it's okay.
Alexander Pacheco García, 12 de junio de 1983.
My apologies, Your Honor. Alexander Pacheco Garcia, June 12, 1983.
Thank you, Mr. Pacheco. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with burglary of a dwelling and petty theft. I'll find that there's probable cause for each of those charges. Bond on count 1 set at $5,000. Bond on count 2 set at $100. Do not return to the scene of the alleged offense. Thank you, sir. Rivera, please. Could I please have your full name and date of birth, ma'am?
Yes, Itzel Milena Rivera, date of birth September 18, septiembre 18, 1964. September 18,
Date of birth is September 18, 1964.
All right, Ms. Rivera, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with a failure to appear. Probable cause has already been found, and your bond's already been set at no bond. Thank you, ma'am. Iglesias? Morning, sir. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Rigoberto Iglesias, 12/20/73.
Sir, you have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with criminal mischief. There's probable cause for that charge, and your bond is $500. Do not return to the scene of the alleged offense. Thank you, sir.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, how much was the bond?
The bond was $500. Is that the end of the interpreter cases?
That's what I have, Your Honor.
That is your.
Garcia Vasquez does not need an interpreter.
Garcia Vasquez refused to attend, but he does not need an interpreter.
Okay, we'll pass Garcia Vasquez until tomorrow, and thank you for your help, Astrid. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a good day.
You too. Fountain next.
I did too, but she doesn't look like a DeAndre to me.
She does not. She looks like a Dina Chambliss. Okay. I'm fine taking her out of turn if you guys are, if we can keep rolling. Is that fine? Okay.
That's Chambliss, you said?
Yeah. Could I have your full name and date of birth, ma'am?
Sherry Isabel. Sherry Denise Isabel.
What's your last name?
Isabel.
What is Isabel?
Somebody wrote it.
We'll see you in a little bit.
Okay.
That's like 5 or 6 down the line.
Yeah, it's a couple down the line.
I'm not gonna mess you up. You're all right. We know she's coming. All right, morning, sir. Could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
DeAndre Antoine Fountain,
When were you born, Mr. Fountain?
November 7th, 1989.
All right, thank you, sir. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you in this case. You were charged with possession of cannabis. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge. And he doesn't qualify for PTR because of the picking up the new?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to set bond at $100. You're out on bond in case number 2019 CF 13569.
May I
for-
be heard on that case? I'm sorry.
You don't have to be.
Okay.
I'm not going to take any action on that particular case. Thank you,
It
sir.
was just the one, okay. There you go.
Ma'am, could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Donna B. Chambliss, 11/20/1952.
Morning, Ms. Chambliss. You're charged, you have the right to remain silent. I'm appointing the PD's office to represent you. You're charged with violating your probation. There's already been probable cause found for that violation, and the judge has already set your bond at no bond. Thank you, ma'am.
All right.
Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Andrew Davis, 8/30/85, August 30th, 1985.
Morning, Mr. Davis. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with battery, domestic violence. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge. I'm going to place you on pretrial release with the order not to have any contact with your brother, Alex Davis. No contact means no direct, and I can't place him on PTR?
Your Honor, possibly bond, or first, we don't have the victim present, we don't have an alternate address for him.
Okay.
So if you want
I was going to ask him about that anyway.
Yeah.
And Ms. Daly, do you mind if I inquire?
Sure, I would have done it for you, but if you'd like to inquire, you
Do
can.
you live in the same place as Alex Davis?
Yes, I do.
All right. Do you have anywhere else to stay?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I'm going to order that you not return to the scene of where you guys used to live together.
Okay.
You can go back one time only, accompanied by law enforcement, to get your clothes, items
Okay.
of health, and toiletries. On the subject of no contact, and I'll circle back around to the alternative bond. On the subject of no contact, no direct contact, no indirect contact. No direct contact means that you can't speak to him face-to-face, over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind, or any other way. No indirect contact means that you can't send him messages using anybody else, including other family members. Do you understand no contact, sir?
Yeah.
All right. Is that a yes?
Yes, yes.
All right. Your alternative bond is going to be $1,000.
My bond is $1,000.
PTR.
What is PTR?
Wait to talk to your lawyer.
I don't have an address. I'm really be homeless when I get out. And this is what happened.
No.
No, this is okay. Okay.
Talk about the facts.
You can take Mr. Davis back. I'm good with him. You can take him back. Thank you, sir. This way. Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
May 1st, 1978.
And your name, sir?
Joshua Masetich.
Morning, Mr. Masetich. You have the right to remain silent. You are, I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You are charged with violation of a domestic injunction. Find probable cause for that charge. Set your bond at $10,000. No contact directly or indirectly with the alleged victim. No weapons and no firearms, and follow the injunction. Thank you, sir.
Was that for both counts?
I only have count one.
There's a battery as well. It might be in a separate affidavit.
Give me a second. So on the battery domestic violence case, there's probable cause for the charge. Bond is going to be set at $2,500 with the same special conditions. Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rashay Amir Anderson.
Mr. Anderson, when were you born, sir?
I was born September 25th, 1986.
All right, Mr. Anderson, you have two cases, sir. In the first case, you're charged with possession of cocaine. In the second, you're charged with driving while license suspended. I'll find probable cause for both of those charges. Is he PTR eligible?
No, Your Honor, we didn't qualify Mr. Anderson due to his lack of community ties, through failure to appears.
Okay. I will set his bond on the first case. I'll lower it from 1,000 to 500, and I'll lower his bond on his second case from 500 to 100.
$100 for each one. $100 for the bond spending is $100.
So it's still going to be 200?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, ma'am. Could I have your full name and date of birth again?
Yes, sir. Sherry Isbell,
And when were you born, ma'am?
Lord God, 12/28/77.
All right, Ms. Isbell, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with battery on an EMT. I'll find probable cause for that charge and set your bond at $1,500. Thank you, ma'am.
Can I speak at all?
I don't think it'd be a good idea.
Well, my father was supposed to be.
So you're speaking anyway. It's really not a good idea
Well,
because you're speaking into an open record.
I
and the
want
state's
to-
sitting right
I
there.
want to.
So talk to your lawyer.
No, here.
Well, she.
Ms. Isbell, she's going to send somebody back to talk to you as soon as she can. Thank you.
You. So, am I able to be like a mental health release or something with?
That would be talking to the person who I just said is going to come back and talk to you.
Oh, sorry.
No worries, ma'am. You're good. Sir, could you come on up, tell me your full name and date of birth?
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Jesse Jensen, and my birthday is 2/22/1997.
Thank you, Mr. Jensen. Does he have two cases or just the one? You are here on an out-of-county warrant. Probable cause has already been found, and that judge has already set your bond at no bond. Thank you, sir. All right, sir, could I have your full name and date of birth?
William Matthew Bell, 4/11/71.
Three cases?
I'm
Correct.
sorry, I didn't have Mr. Bell. Where on the docket is he?
They added him, I think, he drowned.
Oh, okay. No, it's okay, as long as it's not something that I should have read. I also don't have a face sheet for this one.
So it's three different, he's on community control for three different cases for the same thing, and it's the same violation? Okay. I'll find, well, probable cause has already been found in all three of those cases. Is he eligible for a bond? Well, he's not, is he statutory, is he VFO?
Yes, he is, Your Honor. He does have reporting requirements, so once he gets released from jail, he needs to report his address.
I'm asking if he's a violent felony
Yes.
offender of special
Yes.
concern because of his qualifying offense. Well, then he's not entitled to a bond. So there'll be no bond on each of those three cases.
I'll let your attorney know. Yes, sir.
Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Eric Levon Cobbins, December 11, 1982.
All right, Mr. Cobbins, you are charged with aggravated battery, false imprisonment, stalking, and assault. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'm going to find that there's probable cause for each of those charges. Bond on count 1 is going to be $20,000. Bonds on counts 2 and 3 is going to be $5,000. Bond on count 4 is going to be $150. You're going to have no contact directly or indirectly with Ms. Gordon. No contact means no direct or indirect contact. Sir, listen to me before you talk to your lawyer. I want to make sure that you understand this because I don't want you to run afoul of what I'm ordering.
Yes, sir.
No direct contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face, over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way. And that includes when you're at the jail, sir. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
So you can't talk to her even when you're at the jail. I just want to make sure that we're clear on this, okay? No indirect contact means that you can't send her messages
No
using
contact
anybody
at all.
else. No weapons, no firearms, no return to the scene of this offense. Thank you, sir.
Look,
I have a job, I can't.
Probable cause for each of those charges: 2, aggravated battery, great bodily harm, dating violence, and false imprisonment, dating violence. Bond on counts 1 and 2 set at $10,000 each with the same conditions.
we just told you we were listening.
$5,001.
Sir,
I'm good with
she just showed
I'm
me-
good with Mr. Cobbins at this point.
She showed
Thank
me
you,
two
sir.
more counts, 2 more charges.
Yeah, she did.
I got 2 more charges?
Yes, he just said that.
Where can I get?
Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Come on up. Tell him your name and your date of birth.
Eduardo Luciano, December 2nd, 67.
Okay, sir, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with aggravated assault, domestic violence, and battery domestic violence. And I'm going to find that there's probable cause for those charges. Are you Ms. Tirado?
Yes, I am.
Could you please raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give in this cause today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
And you are Mr. Luciano's, looks like longtime girlfriend?
Yes.
How long have you been together?
24 years.
And you have a child together?
Yes.
How old is that child?
23 years old.
Okay, and you guys live together?
On and off, yeah.
When this incident occurred,
We were living together.
Okay. Is that house rented or owned?
Rent.
And are both of you on the lease?
I'm in the lease with my son only.
Okay. What did you want to tell me, ma'am?
I just want a protection order.
Okay.
Yes, against
Are
him.
you concerned about your safety?
No,
Okay. Are you in fear of Mr. Luciano?
no.
Okay. Can you, and I'm not saying that I'm being critical one way or another.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like you need the no contact order?
I just want to be protected, that he won't be around my jobs. I will have 2 jobs and my home, to keep away in distance.
Okay. Does the state have any questions for this witness?
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Daly, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay. If you'll just hang there for a second, ma'am, I'll give my order in just a moment. Sir, bond on count 1 is going to be set at $2,500. Bond on count 2 is going to be set at $1,000. Can I appoint PTR to supervise these conditions as well?
Yes, you can, Your Honor.
I'm going to do that on both counts. Sir, you're not going to have any contact directly or indirectly with Ms. Tirado. No direct contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face, over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way. No indirect contact means that you can't send messages to her using anybody else. Do you understand no contact?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
You can't come within 1,000 feet of where she lives or where she works. There'll be no return to the scene of the alleged offense. No weapons and no firearms, and sir, you can't consume any alcohol. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor, could we have a one-time return to retrieve any items of toiletry or clothes?
Ma'am, does he have any clothes at the house that you guys were
Yes,
living
he
together
has
at?
clothes and stuff in the house, yes.
I'm going to let him come back one time only, accompanied by law enforcement, to get clothes, items of health, and toiletries. You can't get anything else, sir. And if you guys need to divide up further possessions, you should feel free to use us downtown in order to do that.
Okay, no problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sir, what's your full name and date of birth?
Ricardo Alejandro Prieto Martinez, March 31st, 1978.
Morning, Mr. Prieto Martinez. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with tampering with a witness to hinder communication to law enforcement and battery domestic violence. I'm going to find that there's probable cause for each of those charges and set your bond at $1,500 on each of the charges. You're not to have any contact with Ms. Milagros Ochoa. No contact means no direct and no indirect contact. No direct contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face, over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way. And no indirect contact means that you can't send messages to her using anybody else. Do you understand no contact, sir?
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, he qualifies for pretrial release. He wanted to know if he could be released on pretrial release.
Your Honor, okay, I put a question mark next to defendant. We did have an alternate, but we have no number to contact his dad. I did speak to the brother. Right now, the brother is residing with Mr. Prieto. So, I don't know if you just want to keep it at the bond, because if I call, I don't have no way of calling his dad to verify they can live with his father.
So I'm going to keep it where I kept it, but if you want to make a note of it and ask one of your colleagues to file a motion so that there can be some verification, I'm sure one of my colleagues would be happy to hear it.
Okay.
The address remember, she already left. This is my home address.
Okay. You can't go back there for now. There's nothing we can do about that for now.
But she's not there anymore. This is what I'm saying, she left.
Your Honor, apparently the alleged victim has left. Could we do it no contact and maintain separate residence rather than do not return? Or would you just rather that be done as a pretrial motion later?
I didn't order do not return
Oh,
based on
okay.
the facts of the case, but I will put maintain separate residences in there.
Okay. You can go back there as long as she's not there.
Thank you. Ma'am, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Ashley Asensio Diaz, August 31st, 1987.
Morning, ma'am. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. I'm going to place you on pretrial release as it relates to count 1. You're not to have any contact with Mr. Carrasquillo. No contact means no direct and no indirect contact. Were you listening to what that meant when I spoke about it to the last gentleman? No
Part of
direct
it.
contact.
But yes, I read the contract.
No direct contact means that you can't contact him, you can't speak to him face-to-face over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way. And no indirect contact means that you can't send messages to him using anybody else. You're going to maintain separate residences, ma'am. Thank you.
Yep, PTR. They'll tell you.
Sir, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Kevin Linsford, July 8th, 1997.
Good morning, Mr. Linsford. You have the right to remain silent, sir. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you for this hearing. You're charged with battery, domestic violence, and criminal mischief. I find that there's probable cause for those charges. Do I understand correctly he has a hold on him out of Leon County?
Yes, Your Honor, for the same charges, there's no bond status.
Okay. Bond on count 1 is going to be set at $5,000. Bond on count 2 is going to be set at $100. You're not to have any contact with Miss Gordon. No contact means no direct and no indirect contact. No direct contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way. And no indirect contact means that you can't use anybody else to send her messages. Do you understand no contact, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. You're going to maintain separate residences. You can't have any weapons or firearms. I understand that y'all have a kid together?
Yes.
Are you the father on the birth certificate?
Yes.
Okay. Have you filed any type of a paternity action to get rights over that child?
No.
All right. So the way that you would have rights over your child would be to file a paternity action, which you need to think about as a divorce case for people who aren't married. If you try to see your child by just forcing the issue, you're going to violate the no contact order and you'll be back in jail, no bond. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, so just file paternity,
All right, sir. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Mark Mahadio, date of birth 2/13/1967.
All right, Mr. Mahadio, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with battery, domestic violence. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge. I'm going to place you on pretrial release, ordering that you have no contact. Does he need an alternate?
Your Honor, I had the opportunity to speak to his mother this morning. Right now, he has no address to go to. They're trying to find another location, but she wasn't able to give me anything. So if you want to do bond or PTR, I know they said they were supposed to have someone here present for him with that information. I don't know if there's someone out there for him.
Is somebody out there for Mr. Mahadio?
I think he's for the next person.
Okay. Yeah, sir, I'll get to you in just a second.
So if you can do bond or.
I think I'll just do bond and.
Okay.
Then
Okay,
we'll just
Judge.
do bond and $1,000, or PTR plus $1,000. So you can't have any contact with Ms. Mahadio. No contact means no direct contact and no indirect contact. No direct contact means that you can't, it looks like you want to say something to me. I'm worried that if you're waiting to talk to me that you're not listening. It would be really good if you listened at this particular point in time. No direct contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face, over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way. And no indirect contact means that you can't use anybody else to send her messages. I'm going to order you to maintain separate residences. You can return one time only to where she is if you need to, accompanied by law enforcement to get clothes, items of health, or toiletries. I'll order that you have no weapons and that you have no firearms. Do you understand the conditions of your release, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank
Can
you
I
very
say
much.
something?
No, what do
You can speak to your lawyer. Ma'am, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Kendra Miller, 9782.
All right. Ms. Miller, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with battery domestic violence, and I find that there's probable cause for that charge. Would you be Mr. Clark, sir?
Yes, I am.
Could you please raise your right hand to be sworn? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give in this cause today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
All right. And sir, do I understand correctly that you and Ms. Miller are married?
Yes, we are.
And how long have you been married?
About 15 years or more.
And and do you have any children together?
2.
How old are they now?
15 and 10.
Okay. And were the two of you living together at the time that this alleged incident occurred?
Yes, we were.
Okay. What would you like to tell me, sir?
I mean, as long as she's civil, and she already filed a divorce, so I don't know why she's being antagonizing. If she just stayed, because she left the bedroom a long time ago, and if she just stayed in her room, I stay in my room, once we finish the course of divorce, I'm fine. I want her to come home because the kids need her.
Is the divorce actually filed?
Yes.
Where's that at in terms of stage?
She just filed maybe 2 weeks ago, so now I'm getting the paperwork to give to my lawyer so we can proceed.
Okay. Do you have any questions for this witness, Mr. Collins?
Did you call law enforcement?
Yes.
Nothing really, Your Honor.
Ms. Daly?
Yes, I just want to I'll inquire now. Would you like to have contact with Miss Miller?
In terms of her being home?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and you would like her to be able to live with you?
Until we get everything settled, yes.
Okay. Are you afraid of Miss Miller?
No. I mean, as long as she just, take it down a notch and not try to antagonize me, I don't feel threatened by her.
Okay, the judge will instruct you on what she can and can't do. Judge, given the alleged victim's testimony, we would be asking for no hostile contact.
Okay. And I understand correctly that she has no criminal record? All right. As to count 1, I'm going to place you on pretrial release. I'm going to order no hostile contact with Mr. Clark. So no hostile contact means no acts of violence and no threats of violence. If you're in a situation where there's a disagreement, and certainly disagreements can arise in the context of getting divorced, I'm going to strongly urge you to remove yourself from the situation immediately until it's not emotional anymore, because you're the one who has the downside on this, meaning you're the one whose bond can be revoked and you're the one who can be back in jail on no bond status. Do you understand what I've told you, ma'am?
Yes.
You're not going to have any weapons and you're not going to have any firearms. Mr. Collins, can I help you?
Yeah, Your Honor, the state would just object for that, just for the record.
Okay. Mr. Clark, I'm not ordering, because I can't order, you're the alleged victim in this case, that you have no hostile contact with her. I'm just going to suggest very strongly that that's an excellent idea. So the same, hold up, just listen. So the same advice that I gave her, if you guys are having some type of a disagreement in the context of splitting up your marriage, and I understand that that can get emotional. If you're having that particular disagreement and you find yourself getting emotional, my best advice to you is that you remove yourself from the situation, talk to your lawyer, and work on getting yourself split up and keep the focus on your kids in the meantime. Does that make sense?
Yes, Your Honor. Just want to say something. Could you order not to lock me out? I can't get in my house when I come home because she's locking up all the doors. She blew up all the doors, so I can't get in.
So that's kind of outside the scope of what we're here for today. What I'm going to really suggest that you do, if you haven't done it already, and this goes for both of you guys, is to talk to your individual lawyers for the divorce and try to get them together with one another so that they can work out these particular things, because it doesn't sound like you guys have had the best success in trying to iron this out amongst yourselves, and that's not out of the ordinary. So get your lawyers involved and use us for those particular services. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, sir. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
LaShawn Washington, 9/24/95.
All right, Mr. Washington, you have the right to remain silent, sir. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with battery, domestic violence, and criminal mischief. I find that there's probable cause for each of those charges. Are you Ms. Taylor?
Yes, sir.
Could you raise your right hand to be sworn, ma'am? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you'll give in this cause today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right. If I understand correctly, you are his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend?
Girlfriend.
All right. How long y'all been dating?
A year and 6 months.
And do you have any children together?
No children.
Okay. And ma'am, I don't mean any offense by this question. I just have to ask. Are you currently expecting a child?
No.
Okay. And what did you want to tell me, ma'am?
I wanted to tell you that I wanted to drop all the charges.
Okay. Do you guys currently live together?
Yes, we do.
Is it an apartment, a house?
It's an apartment. We rent it.
Okay. And who's on the lease?
I'm on the lease.
Okay. Is he on the lease?
No, he's not.
Okay. And does he have any possessions at the apartment in terms of clothes, items of health, that sort of stuff?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Mr. Collins, do you have any questions for Miss Taylor?
And were you the one who called law enforcement regarding the incident?
Yes, sir.
And is it correct that he damaged multiple items of yours during the incident?
A couple items, yes.
Including like a TV?
Yes, a TV.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Ms. Daly?
Yes, sir. Would you like to have contact with Mr. Washington?
I would, and I would like him to come home.
Are you afraid of Mr. Washington?
I am not afraid of him at all.
And you said you wanted him to be able to come home with you?
Yes, please, as soon as possible.
Your Honor, given the alleged victim's testimony, I would be asking for no hostile contact and the ability for them to be able to live together. I have consulted with Mr. Washington, and he would like contact as well.
All right, so as to count one, I'm going to place him on pretrial release plus $2,000. As to count two, it'll be straight pretrial release. Ma'am, when I read those particular types of allegations, and I appreciate you coming in, and I've appreciated what you've told me, but when I read these particular types of allegations, I do have some concern for your safety. I do. I'm going to order no contact at this time, which is no direct contact and no indirect contact. No direct contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face, over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind, or any other way. And no indirect contact means that you can't send messages to her using anybody else. Do you understand no contact, Mr. Washington?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to order you not to return to the scene of this alleged offense. I am going to allow you to go back one time only, accompanied with law enforcement officers, to get clothes, items of health, and toiletries. Ms. Taylor, if you want to talk to the state attorney in this particular case and express your wishes, that would be the best way to pass along what you've told me today. And I do thank you for coming in, ma'am. Thank you very much. He's also on a failure to appear. There's probable cause already established, and his bond is no bond. Sir, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Bernard Anthony Bonamy, 92475, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the PD's office to represent you. You're here today on possession of cocaine, possession of methamphetamine, and possession of cannabis in an amount less than 20 grams. I'll find that there's probable cause for each of those charges. Does he qualify for PTR?
No, Your Honor.
Bond on count 1 is going to be set at $1,000. Bond on count 2 remains at $150, and I'm going to ROR you on count 3. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Mary Frances Curley, 5/5/1961.
All right, Ms. Curley, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the PD's office to represent you. You are here on a failure to report. I'll find that there's probable cause for this charge. Do I understand correctly, Ms. Curley has 2 felony convictions for failing to report?
Correct, Your Honor.
Bond on this count is going to be set at $10,000. Thank you, ma'am. Morning, ma'am. Could I have your full name and date of birth?
Mariana Dash Roches, 11/01/1988.
All right, ma'am, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You have 2 cases. In the first case, you're charged with violating a repeat violence injunction. There's probable cause for that charge. And bond in that case is going to be set at $3,000. You're not to have any contact with Ms. Swanson. No contact means no direct or no indirect contact. No direct contact means that you can't speak to her face-to-face over the telephone, via email, text message, social media of any kind or any other way. And no indirect contact means that you can't use anybody else to send her messages. Do you understand no contact, ma'am?
Yes.
You have to follow the conditions of the injunction that remain in place. As it relates to your second case, you're charged with battery on a law enforcement officer, resisting an officer without violence, introducing contraband into a county facility, and possession of methamphetamine with intent to distribute. Probable cause exists for each of those charges. Bond on count 1 is set at $2,500. Bond on count 2 is set at $500. Bond on count 3 is set at $1,000. And bond on count 4 is lowered to $5,000. Ma'am, I also signed a violation of probation warrant for you today because you're out on bond, or you're out on violation of probation. So that'll be served on you shortly.
It's not her, Your Honor.
It was a different one?
Yes, it's a different one. She's not on probation.
Different violation of
Yes.
injunction case, my bad. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth, please? Yes, sir.
It's Orlando Dixon,
Okay. What's your date of birth, Mr. Dixon?
08/11/2000.
All right, so you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You're charged with carrying a concealed firearm and resisting an officer without violence. I'll find that there's probable cause for those charges. Does he qualify for pretrial
Yes.
release? Give me 1 second. Yeah, no felony history. I'll place him on pretrial release. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Jasmine Ray Fernandez, 03/21/1990.
All right, Ms. Fernandez, you have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. It looks like she has 2 cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, in your first case, you are charged with driving while licensed suspended as a habitual offender, 2 counts of that.
Your Honor, it seems to be all the same facts, so I'd be challenging probable causes to 2 of them. It's duplicative. She can only be charged with 1.
Give me a second. State, am I missing something? That seems right to me. In other words, all 3 of these seem to be the exact same, based on the exact same ticket. So just take a look at each of the 3 tickets that are there, and it has the incident date of Tuesday, October 8th at 3:28 p.m. with the checking of driving while license suspended or revoked. Am I missing something, guys? It looks like it's the exact same thing. Is
I'll
there?
refer to you, Judge, Your Honor.
I wouldn't
It can be
defer.
charged multiple times. I know they can be sentenced to double jeopardy, but it can be charged.
Well, if I pull you over for speeding, can I write you 3 speeding tickets?
You probably can, but I would argue you can't sentence me to 3 speeding tickets.
No.
Does it look like it's the exact same incident? I'm just wondering if I'm missing something clerically.
Ron, I didn't read information. I did provide.
In other words, have I mistakenly been provided with 3 duplicates of the exact same ticket? Are there 3 different tickets? So I'm just asking if there's a clerical mistake.
Your Honor, looking at it to be a clerical mistake, because like you said, it is the same ticket, and the officer reported that the driver's license has been a digital offender in his report. I don't know where the other.
Looks like he charged her with 3 different tickets
It's-
for the exact same incident for 3 different driving
It seems like he
offenses.
didn't know which one to charge her with, so he wrote down all 3 charges to see what would stick.
Okay. I'll tell you what, the third one is, well, it looks like ultimately speaking, the charge is showing as, the second case is no valid. So I'll find probable cause on the no valid. I'll
Right.
place her on PTR. As to the other 2, I will find no probable cause, in ROR on those particular offenses. Your PTR condition is gonna be, don't drive without a valid driver's
Your Honor,
license.
what's the case number for the no valid?
So the no valid is going to be 2019 CT 74, I think that's 27? 21? Nice to see somebody with handwriting as bad as mine. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Johnny Lee Fisher, Jr., 53078.
Thank you, sir. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You are charged with possession of MDMA, possession of cannabis in an amount less than 20 grams, and resisting officer without violence. I'll find that there is probable cause for that charge. I'm going to lower your bond on count 1 to $3,000. ROR you on count 2. Bond on count 3 is going to stay at $100. You're out on bond in 2 separate cases. Case number 2019 CF 10711, you're charged with trafficking in 14 grams or more of MDMA. And in case number 2018 CF 273, you're charged with possession of oxycodone, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a controlled substance with intent to sell, possession of drugs without a prescription with intent to sell or deliver. I am going to revoke your bond in each of those cases, and your bond will be no bond. Thank you, sir. Sir, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Matthew Lane Eaglebarger, 7778.
Thank you, sir. You are charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling unarmed. You have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the PD's office to represent you. Did you have a probable cause issue with this particular one, Ms. Daly?
Yes, Your Honor, this is, at best, it's a trespass because they can't prove that he had the intent to commit a crime therein. The only evidence we have is his statement saying that he was just looking for a place to sleep. Is this the one we were talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Collins?
Hold on.
And I can't place him on PTR because of his situation and his background.
Yes.
Yeah.
Your Honor, he wants me to ask if he could be released on his own recognizance so he can just report to federal probation, unless there's already a hold on him for it.
I think there's already going to be a hold for violating his federal probation. I'm going to give him a bond amount.
Okay.
I'm just waiting to see what the state's position is on the PC for the burglary. I don't think it's there.
I would argue, Your Honor, based on his submissions, that he was checking the residence to see if anyone was home. And basically, upon knocking, told her she had to be let her in. For reading the statute, that if the person inside the dwelling falls into the burglary of a structure of man.
Well, you've got to have intent at the time that you enter the dwelling to commit another crime and not just the trespass or the entry into the building. What would you argue would be the other crime that he was intending to commit?
I would argue that he was intending to, in that case, like I said, it comes out that he was technically giving them the top.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it. If you want to try to amend the if you want to try to amend the PC on it, I'll give you another 24 hours to do
They would
it.
expect to have 24 hours, Your Honor.
Okay, 24 hours to address the charge.
Your Honor, would you set a bond in the meantime, or there's already one set?
Sure, I'll set a bond at $2,000.
No, there's not. You can-
No return to the scene of the offense.
Okay.
Did Ms. Lohman, mental health?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, Ms. Logan is medical.
Okay. Sir, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Gerald Manning, 10/12/1983.
Thanks, Mr. Manning. You have the right to remain silent, sir. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with fleeing or attempting to elude a law enforcement officer and resisting officer without violence. I'll find that there's probable cause for each of those charges. Bond on count 1 set at $4,500. Bond on count 2 set at $500. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Latoya O'Neill, April 12, 1987.
All right, Ms. O'Neill, you have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with aggravated assault with a firearm and battery. I'll find that there's probable cause for each of those charges. Bond on count 1 is going to be set at $5,000. Bond on count 2 at $100. You're not to have any contact with either of the alleged victims in this case. You're not to return to the scene of this offense. You're not to possess any weapons or firearms, and you're to surrender any firearms within 24 hours of being placed on bond. Thank you. Morning, sir. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Darnell Owens, 08/06/2000.
Morning, Mr. Owens. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you for this hearing. You're charged with principal first-degree to robbery, and I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge. I'll set your bond at $1,000 in order that you have no contact with the alleged victim in this case. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, can I please have your full name and date of birth?
Nelson Perez Roman II. My date of birth is November 18th, 1983.
All right, sir. You are charged with, well, first off, you have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with a failure to report. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge. Well, probable cause was already found via warrant. Bond set at $5,000. You are out on bond in case number 2019 CF 6942 for possession of methamphetamine with intent, possession of cocaine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Do you have any argument on that?
No, Your Honor.
I've already pled out to all that stuff in court.
Okay.
Already been to court on that, and they've already,
Let me see. Let's say closed on clerks. Oh, he was placed on pretrial diversion.
Oh, yeah, you didn't plea out on that. I'm going to revoke your bond on that case. You're good. Thanks. Ma'am, could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Crystal Ann Ricks, December 26, 1989.
Thank you, ma'am. You're charged with 2 counts of fraudulent use of credit cards, and I'll find probable cause for that charge. I'm going to appoint the public defender's office to represent you for this hearing. You do have a right to remain silent. Is she PTR eligible?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Bond on count 1 is going to be $1,000. Bond on count 2 is going to be $150. Thank you, ma'am. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Anna Teresa Rodriguez, 2280.
Morning. You have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the public defender's office to represent you. You are charged with destruction of evidence and resisting without violence. I'll find that there's probable cause for those charges. Bond on count 1 set at $1,000. Bond on count 2 set at $500. You are out on bond in case number 2019 CF 12389. No?
This is Ina
No,
Rodriguez.
no, sir.
We're talking about the wrong case.
No.
No, no, it's okay, it's okay.
Alexander Rivera Nader
Yeah.
is in the hospital.
Okay,
Thank you.
let's try again.
Okay, let's try that one again. And probably the way to do that, just in case you do disagree, is to talk to your lawyer as opposed to doing that. It's just the better way to handle it. So let's start over. Tell me your full name and date of birth.
Anna Teresa Rodriguez, 2280.
All right, man. You are charged with possession of fentanyl and possession of drug paraphernalia. I'll find probable cause for those charges. Is she PTR eligible?
Your Honor, we didn't qualify Ms. Rodriguez due to lack of community ties. She doesn't have any failure to her peers, but if she can verify her address before Your Honor, we do qualify her for free trial release.
What's your address?
5385 Barton Drive, Apartment F, Orlando, Florida, 32807.
How long you been there?
I've been there for 7 months.
Okay. You're on that lease?
No, I'm not on the lease, but I live with my boyfriend.
Okay.
And he's an emergency contact there that you can contact as well.
What's his name?
Ricardo Mendez,
Okay.
and you have his information.
I'll place you on pretrial release on counts 1 and 2 with an order not to possess or use any illegal substances. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Morning, sir. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Yes, sir. My name is Adrian Sterling, 6/25/1985.
Thank you, sir. You have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the PD's office to represent you. You're charged with possession of amphetamine and possession of oxycodone. I find that there's probable cause for that charge, or those charges, I should say. Is he PTR eligible?
Okay, the same for him, I'm not for community ties, no failure to appears. If he wishes to, let me
Does
just-
he have a,
Let me see what he,
yeah, he has a felony conviction for trafficking.
he does.
Okay. I'm going to place you on bond $1,000 for count 1, $150 for count 2. Don't possess or use any illegal substances. Thanks, sir. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Danieres Villaverde, September 14, 1995.
All right, ma'am. You have 2 cases. You have a right to remain silent in both. I'll appoint the PD's office to represent you in both. In your first case, you're charged with possession of cannabis in an amount greater than 20 grams.
She actually bonded on that case.
Bonded on that case. Your other case, you're charged with trafficking in amphetamines between 28 and 200 grams, trafficking in over 10 grams of MDMA, trafficking in between 14 and 28 grams of morphine, possession of alprazolam with intent to sell, possession of heroin, possession of cocaine, possession of methamphetamine, and possession of drug paraphernalia. I'll find probable cause for all of those charges. Ma'am, I'm going to set the bond schedule amounts, recognizing full well that your lawyer is probably going to file a motion to lower these amounts, but I'm going to start there based on the charges. Bond on count 1 set at $100,000, bond on count 2 at $50,000, bond on count 3 at $200,000, bond on count 4 at $15,000, bonds on 5, 6, and 7 at $1,000, and bond on count 8 at $500. Thank you.
I know. You do call.
Was this the BOP one?
No, Your Honor, not
This next one?
No,
Are you sure?
Yes. Nikita Ward, yes.
Ma'am, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Nikita Ward, 10/21/1995.
Thank you, ma'am. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the public defender just to represent you for this hearing. I have a question about the charge, guys, because on the face sheet, it's showing up as Bergbat.
Yes.
I don't think the arrest warrant was for Bergbat. Is that correct, State? Bergbat's a PBL.
Yes.
This doesn't look like there was a burglary with a battery therein. It looks like there was a burglary and then a criminal mischief after. Or maybe even an assault or battery first.
I agree, Your Honor.
Only, Your Honor, all I got was the arrest affidavit, which said it was a warrant.
I mean, all this is going to be moot because she's on probation and there's a no bond warrant there, but it looks like she allegedly struck the victim on the back of the head, left the house, and then smashed the windows, which would be the burglary. What I'm going to do is just note that probable cause has already been found via warrant for burglary and criminal mischief. Bond on count 1 is set at $1,000. Bond on count 2 is set at $500. No return to the scene of the offense, no contact with the alleged victim in this particular case. And ma'am, I will let you know that I signed at probation's request a no bond warrant because you're on probation. So please take direction. Sir, could I please have your full name and date of birth?
You can't because you're referring to appear. Tell them your name.
Algie Lamont Alexander,
What's your date of birth, sir?
11/1975.
Thanks, Mr. Alexander. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You have two cases. The first of them involves two failures to appear. Probable cause already been found for those charges. Bond on count 1 set at $500. Bond on count 2 set at $100. You're also charged with, in your second case, with trespass on property after warning, resisting without violence, possession of drug paraphernalia, and providing false ID to a law enforcement officer. I'll find probable cause for those charges. Set bond on count 1 at $500, 2, 3, and 4 at $100 each with no return to the scene of the alleged offense. Thank you, sir. Sir, can I please have your full name and date of birth?
Marcus Terrell Higgs, July 26, 1983.
Thank you, sir. You have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the PD's office to represent you. You're charged with a failure to appear. Probable cause already found, and your bond is already set at $2,000. Thank you, sir. Sir, can I please have your full name and date of birth? Hey, sir, how you doing? Could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Luis Armando Alvera, 3rd, March 28, 1985.
Thank you, sir. You have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with trespass on property after warning, and I'll find probable cause for that charge. State have an offer.
Yes, the offer was an adjudication, credit time served.
You interested in adjudication and credit for time served on that?
Can I consult with my...
Of course.
And no return to the location of working on it.
It seems reasonable.
You would like to accept the state's offer?
All right, sir. Just review and sign that plea form and let me know when you're ready.
I know when you're ready.
All right, sir. You read and understand English?
Yes.
You understand what you're charged with?
Yes.
Are you currently under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Have you taken any medication today?
No.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness or an emotional disturbance?
No.
How far have you completed in your education?
About 5 years college, no degree.
I'm holding up your plea form. Did you have an opportunity to review that, understand it completely, and sign it?
Yes.
Are you entering into this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes.
You understand that if you're not a citizen of the United States, the entry of this plea will result in your deportation?
I'm a citizen, but yes.
It's a different question, so I ask everybody who's taking a plea, I just want you to understand that if you're not a citizen of the United States, the entry of this plea will result in your deportation. I'm just asking if you understand that, sir.
Yes.
All right, as it relates to this particular charge, how do you plead?
Guilty.
All right, I'll accept your plea. I will adjudicate you guilty, sentence you to credit for time served. How many days? 2 days credit for time served, no return to the day's end. I'll waive your court costs. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Hi, it's Mandy Ray Holland, 8/21/88.
All right, you have the right to remain silent, Ms. Holland. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You were charged with possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for that charge. She is not eligible for PTR because of her living situation.
Right, China, she's also on a bond on a felony charge.
I understand. It's a possession of methamphetamine charge from August. Looks like case number 2019 CF 11875. If I put a monetary bond on the new charge, can I add PTR to that?
Yes, you can.
All right, I'm going to lower your bond on the new case to $100 and place you on PTR. They're going to drug test you as much as they want to do that randomly. I'm going to order that you not possess or use any illegal substances. As it relates to your other case, I am not going to take any action on it at this point. But
Okay.
if you violate PTR, then you're probably in a bad spot. Does that make sense?
Okay, thank you. I just have one question, because
Why don't you direct it to your lawyer, please? That's what she's here for.
Does she have a contempt of court case?
I
Okay,
go tomorrow, I think.
okay.
I'm not advising her on that one, but if she has one, that's a good question.
I didn't know if
That's-
it was something you were,
Do they usually make you stay or something?
I'm not sure.
It wasn't anything she did to me, so I'm not going to address it. See you
I
later.
hope she. Oh, that's it? Okay, thank you.
Yeah. This does not look like Jeffrey Stephen Wang.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, he's mental health.
Okay, thank you. We'll pass him to tomorrow. This does look like it might be Michelle Richmond. Could I have your name and date of birth, ma'am?
Michelle Richmond, 12/24/89.
Ms. Richmond, you have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the PD's office to represent you. You're charged with criminal mischief. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge and set your bond at $500. You'll not return to the scene of this offense.
Right, we did qualify Ms. Richmond for straight PTR.
Okay. Give me a second on that.
Okay.
Nah, I'm not comfortable with PTR on this one. Thank you. It can be 500 plus PTR.
I'll let your attorney know.
Sir, can I please have your full name and date of birth? Come on up. Yeah, yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Antonio Rodriguez, April 9, 98.
Thank you, sir. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're here today on 2 counts of possession of drug paraphernalia, and I'll find that there's probable cause for those charges. Does the state have an offer in this case?
I didn't have an offer on this one, Your Honor.
We did qualify Ms. Rodriguez for straight PTR, Your Honor.
It's his call. If he wants to do a credit for time served, I would do it today,
Okay.
but he has no history.
Right, and I think this might be something that's eligible for the new drug diversion program.
That's fine. I'll just place him on pretrial release, straight PTR without any possession or use of illegal substances.
And that's why I didn't get off, Your Honor, I'm not familiar with the new program, but yeah, he had no history, and I think he'd be working under PD or something
Okay.
like that.
Sounds fair.
Thank you so
sir.
much.
You see. Yeah. What's going on with Mr. Rodriguez Torres?
He bonded, Your Honor.
Bonded. Ma'am, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Jojo Missy Ship, 9/25/80.
All right, Ms. Shipp, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You have two cases. The first is trespass after warning and a conveyance. The second is resisting officer without violence and petty theft. I'll find probable cause for all of those charges. Oh, it was stapled together. I just have the trespass, ma'am. Probable cause for that charge, bond set at well, is there an offer from the state?
It was an offer, Your Honor. Estimated is 20 days, Orange County Jail, credit time served, 4 miles, no return to the location. She has history.
5 felonies, 18 misdemeanors, 12 failures to appear. Does she want to do the 20 days?
She wanted to know if Your Honor would be inclined to do anything less than 100, or not 100, less than 20 days?
I think 20 is probably a fair offer in this particular case, given the history, but I do appreciate her asking. Is that what she wants? Does she want to do that, or does she want to? If you do it today, I'll waive your court costs, which is...
Okay.
Is that something that you want to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you review and understand that plea form and then sign it when you're ready to go, ma'am? Ma'am, do you read and understand English?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand what you're charged with in this case?
Yes, sir.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Have you taken any medication today?
No, sir.
Have you ever been diagnosed with a mental illness or an emotional disturbance?
No, sir.
Do you believe you're suffering from either of those things this morning?
No, sir.
How far have you completed in your education?
10th grade.
I'm holding up your plea form. That your signature on the bottom of it?
Yes, sir.
Were you able to read the plea form fully and understand everything that was in it?
Yes, sir.
Are you entering this plea freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that if you're not a citizen of the United States, the entry of this plea will result in your deportation?
Yes, sir.
As it relates to trespass, how do you plead, ma'am? Okay, I'll accept your plea. I find that you're alert and intelligent, that your plea is freely and voluntarily entered. You understand what you're getting into. I'll adjudicate you guilty and sentence you to 20 days in the Orange County Jail. What's her current credit?
Credit for 2.
With 2 days credit for time served. I'm going to order that I'm going to waive your court costs. I'm also going to order that you not return to the scene of this offense. Thank you, ma'am. Sir, could I please have your full name and date of birth? Come on up.
Jose Vargas,
And what's your date of birth, sir?
June 26, 1971.
All right, Mr. Vargas, you have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're charged with resisting without violence and petty theft. I'll find that there's probable cause for those charges. Does he qualify for PTR?
No, we didn't due to lack of emergency contact. He has no failure to appears. I didn't know if he had an offer, if he was willing to do a plea offer.
Is there an offer on this case today?
There's no offer today, Your Honor.
Okay, Your Honor, if he can verify his address before Your Honor, he has not much of criminal history, only 4 misdemeanors.
Where you live, sir? Do you have a place to live?
Just have-
2325 Donegan Place.
Okay.
Donegan?
Yeah.
Spell that for me.
Donegan. Donegan.
And who lives there with you?
The guy that I work for. I rent a room for him.
Okay, and what's his name?
Mario Cruz Miranda.
I tell you what, I'm going to basically give you an alternative. I'll give you the PTR with the monetary bond at this point, and if you can provide some more detailed information from him to your lawyer, then I'm sure that somebody would consider straight PTR. So it's going to be 500 on count 1, 100 on count 2, no return to the scene of the offense, plus PTR. Thank you, sir. And yeah, it would have to be a separate motion. Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Cecil Coleman, 10-10-79.
All right, Mr. Coleman, you have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the PD's office to represent you. You're here on 3 out-of-county warrants. The bonds have already been set and probable cause has already been found. On counts 1 and 2, it's going to be $50,000 each. On count 3, it's going to be $2,500. Thank you, sir. Morning, sir. Step on up. Could I have your full name and date of birth, please?
Sure thing, Your Honor. It's Joe Torres. Date of birth is 12/25/1981.
Thanks, Mr. Torres. You have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You're here on a violation of probation out of county. Probable cause already been found. Bond already set at no bond. Thank you, sir. Thank
He
you.
does have reporting requirements. He needs to report his address to the local authorities once he gets released.
Okay. But I mean, he wouldn't be released until he went back up to Marion County, right?
Yes.
So you do have, I mean, it does sound like you have reporting requirements if you are released in Marion County, and I have no control over that. You understand that you need to report, sir?
Yes, sir, I understand all my reporting.
Thank you. Ma'am, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Bernice Washington, 8/14/80.
All right, Ms. Washington, you are here on an out-of-county warrant. Probable cause already been found. Bond is set at no bond. You're out on bond in case number 2019 CF 11122, and I'm not going to take any action on that case. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Barbara Ann Lorraine Starcher, 9/12/90.
Morning, ma'am. You have the right to remain silent. I'm going to appoint the Public Defender's Office to represent you. You are charged with possession of cocaine. I'll find that there's probable cause for that charge. Does she qualify for pretrial release?
Well, we didn't qualify Ms. Starcher. She was due to her moving over to Safe Book, so we didn't have the opportunity.
Okay. What's missing?
So if you want to do bond or PTR, it qualifies. I don't know if she has a residence. Yes.
She has... Where you living, ma'am?
St. Cloud,
What's the address?
3705 Lakeview Acres Drive.
Okay. And who are you there with?
My mother and my stepfather.
Okay. I'll place her on pretrial release with instructions to drug test as often as directed
Yes, sir.
and not possess or consume any illegal substances. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay. With that being, I have a question. With that being in Osceola County, could I do it there, or do I have to come to Orange County every
It's a
week?
question that you should probably direct to your lawyer when you have a chance to do it. It's a
Yes,
valid
sir.
question, though, ma'am.
Yes, sir. So I'm leaving to the county. Yep.
Sir, step on up. Could I please have your full name and date of birth?
Marco Antonio Caro Ortiz, 2387.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Caro Ortiz. You have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the PD's office to represent you. You're here on violation of probation. Probable cause already been found. Bond set at $2,500. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Justin Gray, 04/25/94.
All right, Mr. Gray, you're here on a violation of probation. Probable cause already found. Bond is no bond. Thank you, sir. Sir, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Name is Julio Vasquez, 05/18/1993.
Morning, sir. You're charged with violating your probation. Probable cause already been found. Bond already set at no bond. Thank you.
A quick question before I go.
Wait.
I'm sorry.
Did you have Mr. Hutchison, Your Honor?
Hutchison.
It depends on your courtroom. I just don't know what courtroom you're in right now.
Okay.
It'll be soon.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I had Mr.
No.
Hutchinson.
What happened to Hutchinson?
He's mental health.
Okay, past Hutchison, that's Vasquez, that I just did. My bad. Ma'am, could I have your full name and date of birth?
Yes, Yoshi Kiori Williams, date of birth 1/13/1993.
All right, ma'am, you have the right to remain silent. I'll appoint the PD's office to represent you. You're here on a violation of community control. Probable cause already found and your bond is set at no bond. You're looks like you're out on bond in case number 2019 CF 9039. I don't believe I have the ability to take any action on that case.
No,
No.
State.